My eyes are open, I can't get caught in these little traps. And I don't need to burn sage because that's witchcraft. We need to stop being mad at the person. It's not the flesh, it's the spirit. We need discernment. It's scary to have it all figured out and you still don't know what's coming. If I say Jesus is coming, then people think it's funny. But all these kids believe in tooth fairies and mummies. I thought Easter was about Jesus, they replaced him with a bunny. Distractions give us more faith in Santa Claus than our Savior. How come the letters in Santa also spell Satan? If scary movies are good, then why do we fear it? Why do these stores like to call alcohol spirits? Help me understand it. The world been looking shady, I just need some answers. I'm seeing men turn into ladies, everything is backwards. The world has been deceiving us with these distractions. How did this happen? Look at this world that we live in, somebody casting spells. When we celebrate Mardi Gras, we just mask ourselves. Think I'm saying too much, am I getting past myself? Is Christmas really about Christ? Now let's just ask ourselves. Okay, God, if they not shook yet, here's the earthquake. Where in the Bible does it say was Jesus' birthday? Social media caused a lot of my worst days. Can't forget the past if we keep throwing back on Thursdays. Everyone thinking it's funny, am I the only one who don't find it amusing? Everybody be talking about purpose but don't even know what they supposed to be doing. Don't even know if they believe in Jesus. Everyone picking and choosing. I can see all of their fame and all of their money, but really they losing. But they go just say I'm hating, they think they winning. Lukewarm Christians and they feelings cause they sinning. The Holy Spirit's conviction got them offended. So let me go ahead and end it cause they won't get it. You can't win every argument trying to twist facts. Manipulation's a form of witchcraft. I had to let go of pride cause I gotta be humble. Because he who exalts himself will be humble. I'm feeling this. Hold on, I'm about to go back in cause I got a lot more to say. They're not ready for this. So actually, let me pray on that. Cut it off.
We don't take Noel.
I believe somebody's pulling strings, don't start me. They want me to get the vaccine, they can't mark me. They got mad when I told them that sage is witchcraft. Removing bad spirits with smoke like that, get rid of that, it's crazy. I don't play them games with Satan, nah. Forcing things to happen ain't natural, that's just playing God. They trying to run me out the booth, persecuting me for telling the truth they never knew. Somebody needs to go and give God an apology, cause we ignore his prophecies and just worship astrology. I don't care if you Aquarius or Sagittarius. God did not create it, he probably think it's hilarious. And all the Greek mythology nonsense, I ain't having it. And anyone who call themselves a god to me is blasphemous. We see 1111 and try to claim something. If it's an angel number, tell me what angel it came from. They can't. To me it look like it's another idol, cause if it's an angel number, then how's it not in the Bible? I'm confused. The world is distracting us from the rules, taking God out of the media, television, and schools, thinking that it's a joke, but I am not too amused. They go try to make us choose, then kill us if we refuse. Read the clues. It look like the fame is too hard to handle. If you straight and you don't want to be gay, then you'll get canceled. I guess I'm
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now that we have all been cautioned in this committee hearing that the mention of Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could put us on a list, well, I already find myself on many lists, I'm sure. So I speak my mind often, so why not just keep going with it? May as well just go all out and say it. The earth is flat, birds are government drones, and we've never set foot on the moon, and Joe Biden received 81 million votes in the 2020 election. So let's just see how many lists we could get on here today.
Admiral Byrd tells an extraordinary story.
Admiral Byrd heard there was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the South, under the South Pole. And when he did that, he discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temperate. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around them that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area.
It never happened.
This one was invented by a writer. It never happened. It's false. It never happened. It's a fake. It's fiction. It's an urban legend that never happened. It never happened. It never happened. We made this one up. It's fiction. We made up this one. It never happened. This one.
You believe the Earth is flat?
Well, I know that it's not a globe.
What the hell happened to your brain to believe such a thing?
You mean, what happened to my brain to not trust mainstream science?
No, well, that's a completely separate question, but to believe flat.
Well, flat's not a shape, though. I mean, obviously there's mountains, hills, peaks, valleys.
No, I know, but yeah. I'm saying what you were
stationary level plane, a level plane, level. It's level. Like
no, but
all of our water is level.
I'm saying it's not, but how do you believe such a thing?
What do you mean believe? I don't believe that. I know that.
Well, I would say that it's possible for a crazy person to think they're not believing in something, but they know that it's true, but in reality it's not.
Well, what's crazy is believing in cartoons and calling it reality.
Yeah, that is similar. This is similar.
I know space is not real.
What do you mean by that?
Space isn't real. It's only the sun and the moon.
Facts.
It's only the sun and the moon.
I knew that.
Yeah.
For real?
Space is not real.
I did not know that.
And the earth is flat.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And why do you think
that I don't agree with?
No, I'm gonna tell you. Why do you think scientists, it's proven, you can search this up after the podcast or whenever, now it's up to you. Scientists went down in the earth, right? They tried to go to the earth's crust. They found water. I thought it was hot. What happened?
I thought it was too.
Exactly. It's water, fam.
Oh,
and
no.
in the Bible, it said he divided the waters in the midst, meaning in the middle, right? He divided the waters from the top and the bottom. Basically, it's waters below us and waters above us. That's why the sky is blue. It's not because of a reflection. They lied. The sky is just blue because it's water above us. Why do you think God flooded the earth so easily with Noah? He literally opened the firmament, the heavens. I'm finna show you something. You know satellites? Satellites, there's no real picture of a satellite. Space is not real, bro. Look.
I didn't know that.
Ain't no real picture of no satellite. It ain't real. It's not real.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Every photo is edited. I might be speaking too much. They gonna come get me.
You called the moon landing the Easter Bunny for adults.
What we have is what Scott Adams refers to as the non-expert problem. So your gut tells you like, sounds pretty crazy that we went to the moon all these times for a couple of years and then we just didn't go back forever and we were just like done. Like that sounds weird. And where's the technology? And they didn't even have cell phones. And like you're telling me this, they live streamed this and there was a phone call. I don't know, like it just seems like a little weird for like 1969. But you're like, I don't really understand kind of outer space. So I'm not gonna debate this, but my gut tells me this is all BS. So that was where I was. And then what's interesting is like Bill Maher made fun of me for this like a little tweet that I said that I don't know, the moon landing just seems weird. And whenever the media like tries to make you feel like you're stupid, that's usually for me like the first breadcrumb that like you're onto something because that's what they are trained to do. They're trained to sit here and tell you, you're ridiculous, you don't believe this. But then I decided to read this document. It was 119 pages. And I know there's a book too, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And he just broke down the science in a way that was very digestible. So I didn't have a non-expert problem. And so there's a basic thing that you guys can do. Look up Van Allen belt. There's a Van Allen belt. So we have never gone beyond that belt, right? There's been no human that's gone beyond that belt since the moon landings, allegedly. And not even Elon Musk, when they go out to space, they have to stay, like there is a space station, but like once you get 200 miles out, you hit the Van Allen belt, which has an incredible amount of radiation. NASA has said like in order for us to get through it, we'd have to have cement blocks around someone. So I want you to just Google, if you're watching this, the temperature of the Van Allen belt. And you're gonna get something like at the lowest points in the Van Allen belt, it's 3,000 Kelvin. And at the highest points, it's like 30,000 Kelvin. And then I want you to Google what material the shuttle was made out of. And then I want you to Google at what temperature
that would burn.
That would just burn. And you're just gonna laugh out loud. You go, this literally doesn't make sense that an aluminum alloy could have gone through the Van Allen belt for an hour and a half or 59 minutes. It just couldn't have happened. Literally can't happen. There's no explanation for it. They just don't even talk about it. They don't like talking about the Van Allen belt because that part makes entirely no sense.
They told us that we are never, ever to fly over that hole and we are never to discuss it again. What is that about? And does that have anything to do with all these other pieces that keep emerging? That there might be something archaeological in Antarctica?
According to ancient astronaut theorists, this was not the first time a massive hole has been spotted in the ice of Antarctica. Famous polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd allegedly reported seeing a massive entrance to an underground world during his 1947 expedition to the South Pole.
Admiral Byrd made a lot of unusual statements, allegedly talking about a large opening at the South Pole that went deep inside the Earth, ice-free, and was inhabited by various sorts of aliens.
Kind of explain why we're not getting to see these images live. The Apollo 11 landing was broadcast live. Why now don't we have the technology to see all of this live?
This ain't easy. It's not easy. Space is hard, but the moon is harder.
And we're getting a picture on the TV. Got a good picture, huh?
He's on the moon. And the second man is on the moon.
Hey, you got it? That's a good step. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Isn't that something?
We've just got a report from Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Romania that the picture quality there is very good.
Neil Armstrong, getting ready to move the TV camera now out to the panorama position. Okay, as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. Tell me if you got a picture, Houston.
We've got a beautiful picture, Neil.
In terms of more media release, yes, absolutely.
We're working towards improving that, trying to get you surface photos, because I know that everyone's hungry for those surface photos. More cameras. The message is loud and clear. It would be great to get a picture. We have that in the works, so more great imagery from the moon.
Video and pretty pictures.
We're as eager to see those images as the public is.
Obviously, imagery, we love it. We want to share it as much as we can. We want to record it. But if
Kind of explain why we're not getting to see these images live. The Apollo 11 landing was broadcast live. Why now don't we have the technology to see all of this live?
This ain't easy. It's not easy. Space is hard, but the moon is harder.
And we're getting a picture on the TV. Got a good picture, huh?
He's on the moon. And the second man is on the moon.
Hey, you got it? That's a good step. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Isn't that something?
We've just got a report from Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Romania that the picture quality there is very good.
Neil Armstrong, getting ready to move the TV camera now out to the panorama position. Okay, as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. Tell me if you got a picture, Houston.
We've got a beautiful picture, Neil.
In terms of more media release, yes, absolutely.
We're working towards improving that, trying to get you surface photos, because I know that everyone's hungry for those surface photos. More cameras. The message is loud and clear. It would be great to get a picture. We have that in the works, so more great imagery from the moon.
Video and pretty pictures.
We're as eager to see those images as the public is.
Obviously, imagery, we love it. We want to share it as much as we can. We want to record it. But if we're having issues getting it off of the vehicle,
unfortunately,
we just did not have time to go fix that.
It's going to take a little bit of time.
There is a capacity that we share, and we're being as transparent as we can here.
A little slower than we might have wanted.
Some hardware problems.
It's not pointing at Earth. Data flows out of mission control in a very sporadic way.
There are many, many other customers, science customers, that use the Deep Space Network. Actually slows the effort to share things with the team. Being a number of issues with file transfers. We did have a number of communications glitches. We had either forward or return link problems.
Also, during coast in the zero gravity of environment of space,
it's very difficult to transmit on the fly, if you will, and get that all the way back to Earth.
Struggle to get communications.
Unfortunately, they're going to be in the darkness. They will not be sunlit, so we won't get very good video of them.
Tip of the iceberg in its beginning, for people to realize, wow, this was an incredible success.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
People telling me how, oh, it's so funny that you keep saying that we landed on the moon, but we don't even have any pictures to prove it yet. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I don't need a picture to prove it. Right? I don't need a picture. They all were saying how we were so dumb for believing it without any pictures. You're not always going to get pictures.
Over a dozen funnies on the list. Issues,
challenges,
glitches, phenomenon, problems,
idiosyncrasies,
anomalies.
At least they're actually getting things. They're actually getting footage. Why would they go out there and fake something and then go, oh, we accidentally snapped one of the legs and it's tilted over 30 degrees?
So that you can ask that question.
It makes it look more legitimate and authentic in a way. Same way with having the footage be poor, because it's like, well, if they were faking it, why wouldn't they make it look better? Well, actually, they wouldn't, because it's harder to tell that it's fake when it's not very good. If it was high definition and they really went all out, like Interstellar and stuff, you'd be able to figure it out. You would figure out that it's fake. You certainly can't do anything like that live. Secondly, it obviously gives them an excuse to not give you everything, right? Now you're not expecting as much because it tipped over. It wasn't completely successful. It's brilliant script writing to fake it, but to appease people as if they really landed on the moon.
It's just CGI and propaganda, selling it to the masses, blah, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, dude, they're not doing that good of a job at it, really.
NASA owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid.
They also own the rights to a section of the Grand Canyon. Took a helicopter down into the Grand Canyon. They said we can't walk to this area. Area I heard had old carvings or something would be over in this area. So I started trying to walk that way. And this guy pops out of nowhere with all black on, black hat, black military outfit with no logos, and an AR-15 and tells me, halt, you can't go any further. I'm like, why? I said, what's going on? Oh, didn't they tell you couldn't come over here? I said, well, they did, but I'm thinking, I just want to see, what's over here. Can you just tell me, sir, like, why can't I come over here? He says, NASA owns the rights to this section. You can't come over here.
Do you have any theories of why that is?
It's got to be technological. Starts at something with space. And then also, where else? Chaco Canyon. Same situation. They actually own the rights to those round former things that look like they might have been domes or whatever. That now there's no dome, but you can see those round circles. So it's like, so wait a minute, what's going on here?
I don't get it. Libra and Leo are supposed to work. It's a thing.
No, nobody likes a drunk boy.
What's with her and all the bad boys?
Could be daddy issues.
I think I can see my father's house from here.
She's smart, she's beautiful, and she seems so strong. Why does she always need to be with somebody?
She's still searching. She needs some stability after all that emotional whiplash.
Well, it's a damn shame.
Yeah, it makes me super sad. I just want to give her a big hug.
Stanley Kubrick, Walt Disney, and Warner von Braun did not invent a fake moon landing. If they did, I mean, where's the footage? Where's the proof?
I think it means that the job of landing something on the moon where there's no atmosphere and using a rocket to slow it up and having the equipment still work is a very difficult job.
We've been brought in here by Stanley Kubrick to more or less ensure the scientific integrity of the film, to make sure that it's very, very close in reality, but still we want to make certain that it has a base of reality.
Before the end of the 60s, we will see a man to the moon, an American, and we're very proud that our country continues to produce these young men who go so far and carry with them so much.
To put people on the moon and with enough fuel to enable them to return safely home to Earth requires still a larger and more powerful rocket, however.
It's going to take some time, and I think we have to recognize it. They secured these large boosters, which have led to their being first in Sputnik and led to their first putting their man in space. We are, I hope, going to be able to carry out our efforts with due regard to the problem of the life of the man involved this year. But we are behind.
However, let us imagine for a moment that the many problems have been solved. We are ready to begin our first voyage to the moon.
It is quite possible that an aggressor nation that dominates space will then dominate the world.
We're in the final assembly building of the LEM,
Stanley Kubrick and I have set ourselves several objectives. We hope to convey to the public the wonder and beauty and promise of the new age of exploration which is opening up before the human race.
Well, here we are on the LEM ship, and one can almost imagine we're on our way to the moon, or we've arrived at the moon, as a matter of fact.
Can you believe it? Can you realize that you and I, that all of us, have actually begun the exploration of another world? We have taken the first historic step into our solar system.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. We, the crew of Apollo 11, are privileged to represent the United States in our first attempt to take man to another heavenly body.
Man walks on the moon! Man walks on the moon! The first man from Earth walked on the surface of the moon this morning, and the suspense here in London is unbelievable.
Apollo 11, Houston. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming. I'm going to step off the LEM now. Neil and Buzz, the President of the United States is in his office now and would like to say a few words to you, over. That would be an honor. Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made in the whole history of man. All the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done. And one in our prayers that you will return safely to Earth.
Well, for one, as I'm speaking to the globe Earth believers, you guys believe that you're on a spinning ball going through outer space, but also at the same time you believe in falling stars. Well, if there's no gravity in space, how does a star fall? Why does it go sideways or up? Why does it always fall down if there's no gravity in space? Okay, well, for one, there's no space. Now, here's the answer for my truthers out there. Now, the Testament of Solomon, just like the Book of Enoch, all these books were stripped from the Bible because they tell us what all these things are that surround us on this earth and what's going on up in the heavens and how everything is made. So, with that being said, let's look and see what Scripture says falling stars are. Okay, Solomon 1:13. And when they were gone, I ordered Amias to be brought forward and said to him, Tell me how you know this. And he answered, We demons ascend into the firmament of heaven and fly about among the stars, and we hear the sentences which go forth upon the souls of men, and forthwith we come, and whether by force of influence, or by fire, or by sword, or by some accident, we veil our act of destruction. And if a man does not die of some untimely disaster or by violence, then we demons transform ourselves in such a way to appear to men and be worshipped in our human nature. Therefore, having heard this glorified the Lord God. And again I questioned the demons, saying, Tell me how you can ascend into heaven, being demons, and amidst the stars and the holy angels intermingle. And he answered, Just as things are fulfilled in heaven, so also on earth are fulfilled the types of all of them. For there are principalities, authorities, world rulers, and we demons fly about in the air, and we hear the voices of the heavenly beings and survey all powers, as having no ground or basis on which to alight and rest. We lose strength and fall off like leaves from trees, and men, seeing us, imagine that the stars are falling from heaven. But it is not really so, King, but we fall because of our weakness, and because we have nowhere anything to lay hold of. And so we fall down like lightnings in the depth of night, and suddenly, and we set cities in flames and fires of fields. For the stars have firm foundations in the heaven, like the sun and the moon. Now, did you pay attention what that said right there? For the stars have firm foundations in the heaven, like the sun and moon, which means they can't fall. They are firmly put there for eternity. Stars do not fall. Demons fall, and I just showed you that in Scripture. It's really, really simple. You're being lied to about your whole reality, and I'm trying to teach you the real reality. It's time to wake up and quit believing these lies that these people have been feeding to you for centuries now. And what you got to ask yourself is, why all the books that were stripped from the Bible are the books that explain to us everything that's going on in the sky and what all these things are made and how they were made. And ain't it funny that all those were stripped from the Bible, and the only information you are given about everything up in the sky and all around you now is given to you by NASA? These are not fallen stars. These are the demons, the evil spirits, bound here for eternity until a judgment day. Stars are angels, just as the Scripture of Enoch says, and that is why it's called a falling star. And they even hide it in the intro of Paramount movies, the fallen angels descending on Mount Hermon.
The Book of Enoch, Chapter 6. And the angels, the children of the heaven, and there were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they'd sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it.
Now the stars will fall from the sky someday at the end of times, like the book of Revelation says. But the ones that you see in this day and time that you think are falling from the sky, those are demons.
Saturn
He's referred to as Lord of the Rings. Hollywood's still making movies about Lord of the Rings, and Americans just love it and have no idea in the world what they're looking at. They're telling you something, but you're not listening. So Saturn is the Lord of the black robe. Judges wear black robes. Catholic priests wear black robes. Rabbis wear black robes. Kids graduating from high school and university wear black robes. Black robes are the robes of the planet Saturn. Saturn color was black. God Saturn in the ancient Phoenician world was referred to as El, E-L. This is why if you're continuing today to worship the planet Saturn, you become known as an elder. How did you get to be an elder? You got elected with elections. Because you were elected, now you're one of the elites. You have become elevated. Words and terms are very, very interesting.
The truth is hidden in plain sight, and this is how they hide everything. If you are looking for the knowledge that has been hidden from us, if you want to know the meaning behind these symbols, if you want to know who controls the world, this ebook will literally unveil that to you, and ye shall know the truth, and truth shall set you free.
I got some firmament scriptures that I think are just really cool.
Do it.
Okay, so I looked up the definition of firmament.
Okay.
Apparent surface of the imaginary sphere on which celestial bodies appear to be projected. Amos 9:6. And it talked about a vaulted dome. The amplified version, it says, "It is he who builds his upper chambers in the heavens and has established his vaulted dome, the firmament of heaven over the earth, he who calls to the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth, the Lord is his name." So just like the idea of like a vaulted dome.
PJ's at a 1.2, guys. We're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving along.
Every scripture, yeah.
Vaulted. And then in Job 37:18, talks about the firmament being spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. Because I was watching videos of how Yahweh can look at his creation through a looking glass. Yeah. When you actually watch the flat Earth videos of the pictures, it's so cool. Because obviously, you have your flat Earth, and we can talk about Genesis of how they separate the water from the water.
Genesis 1:7.
Yeah. So I'm now so intrigued to study firmament, what it means in Hebrew. I was like deep diving today. So I just wanted to pull out those scriptures.
For sure.
I see that it says the moon landing was fake. Why is it fake?
All 6 were fake.
How are they fake?
Hollywood did the moon landings for NASA.
If
One picture proves it, sir, right here.
How? Talk to me.
2 guys playing golf. 1, 2. Third guy always stayed in the orbiter 60 miles up, so who pushed the button on the camera to take the picture?
Maybe it was time
No
lapse.
timer, no remote shutter. Who pushed the button on the
Damn.
camera? FAKE, sir. Here's the rover. Lots of footprints, no tire tracks. How'd the rover get there without leaving tire tracks, sir? FAKE, sir. But you know why they faked the moon landings?
Why they fake it?
To beat the Russians and to give us the first pictures of this. And they lied again because it's flat.
What?
And watch this, sir. The boats are not upside down, sir.
Oh, so
the boats are not sideways because the water's flat.
You think the
and
earth
see
is flat?
The kangaroos, sir?
What about kangaroos?
They're not upside down because the earth is flat.
How's the earth flat? So explain the sun movement.
The sun's doing circles over the flat earth, sir.
Explain when there's hills and the sun gets blocked by the hills. Does it just instantly get cold?
Well, it blocks the sunlight. Sunlight's hot.
So if the sun was to fly over and it got blocked right here, it'll get cold right here?
You know why they call them airplanes? Because they fly in the air over the plane.
Oh, my God.
That's called language,
Oh, my
sir.
God.
And the boats are not upside down or sideways because it's flat. Duh.
So where's the ending to the water if the water's flat?
The White Beach, Antarctica.
The White Beach?
The White Beach, Antarctica. The blue dome's at the edge.
So if the sun rises over there all the time...
Oh, shit. You've been living on a flat earth your whole life. You just didn't know it, sir. Flat earth gravity.
We're actually on a hill.
Oh my God.
We are on a
the
hill.
The water's flat.
Well,
and the boats are not upside down, sir.
Gravity.
What? No,
gravity pulls us
it's like
down.
low bullshit, sir.
Gravity pulls us down.
To the flat earth, yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody's upside down. Duh.
They are portals. The moon is empty. You can see on the new moon, you can see a ring.
and there's black, and you can see it's a hole. Clearly, it's a hole. You go through it.
The moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, a cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958. If the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. The soft landing attempts will all fail.
But the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Oh, well, that will never happen. Will never happen.
Oh, you're telling me there's no moon there?
There is. There is.
It's not a solid object. Is that what? Is that? I mean,
not solid as we know solid. It's a more attenuated transcendental material. Atoms can act differently when they're in a different dimension. It's transcendental. What you are seeing there is the dance of the gods, the moon, the sun. These are gods. They are gods. They are archangels. The Jews, they'll tell you in Kabbalah, they'll tell you the moon is Raphael, Mercury is Gabriel, etc. The sun is Michael.
Oh my God.
Hey, look, guys. That was the boost.
Heureux vous, troquez vos valeurs, lui il est tout mon monde, et bien plus que ça, seul je crie son nom quand vient le désarroi, et puis tout s'effondre quand il n'est plus là, j'aimerais tellement lui dire, mais je n'ose pas, lui qui me fait tourner dans le vide, tourner dans le vide, tourner dans le vide, il me fait tourner dans le vide, tourner.
I like how you can zoom in and do like a 3D and look at the city and everything. But my issue is that when you zoom out and you go into outer space, this Earth that we live on turns into a cartoon. This is a cartoon now. Where is the real Earth? Oh, that's right. Space ain't a real place. That's why this camera doesn't go into outer space. In fact, I'm going to show you right now where these images come from.
It's not that they wouldn't use the magical floating satellites if they could. It's that they don't physically exist, nor does the globe. They have been sending these up one at a time since it all began. I will allow them to explain it.
It's also the genesis for NASA's newly developed super pressure balloon.
The reason for super pressure ballooning is they have absolutely stable altitude, day, night, and it doesn't matter how cold the atmosphere is. They are sealed.
So your shape is always the same, you always displace the same amount of air, and therefore you have the same amount of buoyancy all the time.
NASA's been using balloons for science research for over 30 years. The exploration that can be done on balloons is continuing to grow. The standard balloon that I fly is about 660 feet long when it's made.
So let me get this straight. It is now public knowledge that they send up satellites on massive helium-filled balloons. As you should know, NASA is the largest consumer of helium in the world, for obvious reasons. But the issue with society is that they never critically think. Just think for a second here. If these are sent up to provide the world with all of the important information we need, and I'm sure the entire process is expensive and difficult to accomplish, then please explain to me what in the flat world do these pathetic animations do for you? Do they make you happy inside? Are they so super duper cool that you cannot see past the obvious CGI? The fact of the matter is everything NASA sends up on a balloon simply hovers above our motionless Earth. That is why they rarely speak about orbiting satellites, and of course, they never show footage. Here is some footage of a random evening with a man, the moon, and his Nikon P900. Notice anything floating up there?
Forget it, Bart. It's so bright out you can't see anything in the sky except the Fox satellite.
And then every now and then these satellites come crashing down. They fall out of the sky with those helium balloons attached to them all over the world. But you don't hear about it because you likely get your information from mainstream media. And I'm going to tell you why that's a bad idea. The same people that own the news are the same people that are perpetuating this hoax, all right? If you want the truth, you got to find it yourself.
go, man. Hey, try it. Let's go. No way.
Take this ball here, pour a whole bunch of water on it, and watch none of the water fall off the bottom. It all sticks onto it. And while that's happening, and the water stays stuck. Not only that, you're at 1,000 miles an hour spinning this way, which also at 67,000 miles an hour, 67,000 miles an hour, while spinning 1,000, you're circling around the sun. And while that's happening, you're also chasing the sun through the Milky Way at 514,000 miles an hour. And every single night, the stars are exactly the same. Every single night. Every single night, the stars never change. Polaris is always exactly where it is.
Okay, so let's look up the word planet. G4107, planitas. A wanderer, wandering stars. What is the root word for planitas? Is G4108. G4108 is plenos. It literally means misleading, leading into error, corrupter, and a deceiver, tramp, imposter. And it is from a nationalized form of pi root pile, which means flat, to spread, on the notion of spread out, flat.
Unlock.
Neil and Buzz, the President of the United States is in his office now and would like to say a few words to you. Over. That would be an honor. Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you do. For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives.
Neil and Buzz, the President...
Pyramids were just recently found in Antarctica. Yes, you heard that right. 5 days ago, military soldiers were asked to investigate multiple pyramids in Antarctica. Of course, they were asked to keep it a top-secret mission. However, one of the soldiers leaked the jaw-dropping videos to the online world. Astonishingly, many soldiers reported that the pyramids were emitting a mysterious energy. But that's not even the craziest part. They also claimed that every year, members of the elite visit this place for a reunion. People argue that an ancient civilization constructed these pyramids in Antarctica, and these pyramids are not small. Some are 2 times the size of the pyramids in Egypt. Antarctica is the source of many theories. Many believe that this location might be an entrance to a hidden inner Earth civilization, or that it serves as a hiding spot for UFOs. But the question remains, what is the truth about this mysterious place? And why don't the elite want regular people to go there? Subscribe for part 2. Now you know that...
Please can someone help explain how on this flight the moon is below the horizon by quite some way? Moon horizon.
Got me lifted, shifted higher than the ceiling, and ooh, it's the ultimate feeling. You got me lifted, feeling so gifted. Sugar, how you get so fly? Sugar, sugar, how you get so fly? Sugar, sugar, how you get so fly? Sugar, sugar.
Bird, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
I showed you the maps that were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out. Now I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here's Volume 2. Now this is actually the Encyclopedia America, but the Encyclopedia Britannica is the same thing as Encyclopedia America. It's just the Britain version. So I call it the Britannica. Anyways, this is Volume 2 out of the alphabet A. We're going to flip to the Antarctica, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there. Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's discontinued them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really, really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image on Google Earth's heliocentric model. And now here we are at 80 degrees latitude and 90 degrees longitude. And as you can see, we're about a third over the supposed continent of Antarctica. And there, it's supposed to be, the dome is supposed to be 13,000 foot high. Makes no sense, right? Okay, now on this geocentric model, all of us truthers, flat earthers, know that the supposed Antarctica is nothing more than the ice wall. So if we go out here about a third over the ice wall, just like you've seen on the heliocentric image, about a third over Antarctica, then this is where the dome comes down to meet the ice, somewhere hundreds of miles off through the ice desert there, but somewhere right in here around 80 degrees latitude and 90 degrees longitude, this dome is about 13,000 foot above this ice wall. Now, if you go back out into the center of the Earth, or up the North Pole, and try to go up to the firmament with a little bit of calculation, it's going to show that it's about 385,500 feet away. It's really, really simple. And isn't it awful coincidental that the Antarctic Treaty of 1958 bans anyone from going to Antarctica? And guess where that ban starts at? At the 80th parallel south. And as you can read here, Antarctica as a continent is located in the southern hemisphere. It is the 5th largest continent and has an area of about 14 million square kilometers. The continent is almost completely covered by ice and is very difficult to access. There are only a few research stations that are located on the continent. People can only visit Antarctica if they have permission from the authorities. Now, if you're not familiar with any of this at all, and you're just now new to all this, you can say, well, this guy's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But what you got to ask yourself is, why do all the maps before 1958 show a flat Earth with the ice wall around it and a firmament, a dome? And not to mention the fact that all ancient cultures depicted a flat Earth with a dome over it, a firmament over it, for thousands of years. And let's not forget that the Holy Bible depicts a flat Earth with ice walls and a firmament being a dome. And why does the encyclopedia tell you that there's a dome there and it gives you the exact height at a certain latitude and longitude? Well, the reason is because in 1958, that's when all governments and all nations of the world signed the UN treaty to ban all civilians from going to the Antarctica, and NASA came in and erased everything just like they're erasing everything today. So again, ask yourself, if all this existed before 1958, why doesn't it exist now? How come it all of a sudden was erased and just disappeared out of your history books, out of your encyclopedias, out of your libraries? Wake up, people. Wake up.
Called it Operation Fishbowl, and it was to shoot missiles into space because they thought they had the power to finally break through the firmament. And actually what happens, if you read the rest of the article, these missiles would hit up at a certain altitude and then light would shine all the way to the other hemisphere. And the reason that was is because they were hitting that glass and the glass was reflecting it all the way across the sky. It's not some globe Earth where they're just trying. Why would they just shoot a missile in the air to see how high it can blow up? Like, are they just playing with rubber bands? Like, they're doing it for a reason, and they called it Operation Fishbowl for a reason. Dominic is from the late Roman italic name Dominicus, and it means belonging to God. And then that word chama is a fixed, massive, irregular, inequivalent shell. So they originally called it the shell belonging to God, but then they just termed it.
The squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around them that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop.
Is this a secret entrance to the hidden underground worlds of Antarctica?
You go on the Google Earth and you start at the US of A and you head on down to Antarctica, baby. And there's a series of mountains. You'll find them. And right down there is an entrance to the underground world of Antarctica. And it's big. It's a huge entrance. It's big enough to fly a plane out of there, baby cakes.
There's a lot of secret stuff going on down there. Maybe the entrance to the Hollow Earth. Maybe aliens. I don't know. But I wanna. Shavadoo.
For reference, crosshairs were permanently etched into the lunar cameras, so they would have to appear on top of every image. But in this photo, a crosshair is behind a part of the lunar rover.
This situation is impossible and has to be the result of technical manipulation and doctoring of the image.
And in this photo from Apollo 11, the equipment in the foreground is covering the crosshair, not behind it. And in another from Apollo 12, the American flag is covering one crosshair and the astronaut is covering the other. Presented with these questionable photos and videos,
It's absolutely unreal.
that Apollo was a hoax.
By the way, there's a small problem with going to the moon, and inch by inch, NASA is leaking out that they know that there's a problem there. It's called the Van Allen belts, high radiation belts of charged particles around Earth, and we don't know how to get through them, they say. Well, isn't that interesting, because there sure didn't seem to be a problem back in 1969. How do we get through the Van Allen belts? They have all their top scientists working on it. It's a tremendous problem because we do not have any kind of a spacecraft that we can send up that doesn't have metal in it. And when these charged particles hit metal, they produce X-rays. Nothing you can do to get around that. So anybody sitting around something metal in outer space in the Van Allen belts is going to be French fried. And so that whole thing was a giant hoax.
Although it appears that the astronauts are moving in the moon's gravity, which is 1/6 that of the Earth, Percy notes that when the speed of the film is doubled, the astronauts appear to be running as if in Earth's gravity. Also, when the footage of the lunar rover is doubled in speed, it looks as if it's driving here on Earth.
Şükür ederim Rabbime, silahım var bile, sıkarım kalbine. Yaz yine yeni beste, flow'da var sesle. İster Mero'da ya da Enes'te. Filesten über ein Fickko. Mero ballert jeder, aber nix so. Sagen geht drauf, aber ich mach's nicht. Schmeckt dein Zeug, klingt dann amerikanisch. Im Ghetto zu leben, nicht einfach, dein Weiber bringt gar nichts, weil ich keine Zeit hab. Ja, tamam, meine Rollies am Grenzen. Was bringt mir das? Sehen meine Mutter selten. Sesimi verdim sokaklara, olabilir her şey bak.
What about the geodetic curvature experiment performed on the buildings? Measurements were done of the bases and tops of two buildings, one in Torres, Rio Grande do Sul, and another in Natal, Rio Grande do Norte, 3,050 kilometers apart from each other. According to the theory of the spherical Earth, the distance of the measurements of the bases must be different than the measurements of the top, even in a few meters. But if the measurements are equal, this would show that the Earth has no curvature. Remembering the opinion of the INCRA engineers before the experiment,
probably there will be in relation to the extension of this line perpendicular to the baseline. I believe it will be longer.
Thinking of the Earth as a globe, the initial expectation was that the measurements were different.
But when the results arrived, the base and the top measurements were the same, showing that the two buildings are leveled upright. And here the opening angle, where we read the point here, the base of the building and its height. As we do this calculation here, on this plane, we will always find this distance here. On this plane, we will always find this distance here.
the identical measurements of the distance between the bases and the tops prove that between the two buildings there is no curvature, proving that the Earth has no spherical shape.
I can't show you a photo, but I can show you a video. Pay very close attention to the distance because it's really strange how far this ice wall goes on for. Why do you think so many countries have signed a treaty to prevent anyone unauthorized to set foot here? They do not want us to know what lies beyond these ice walls. In the 1900s, a man appeared on...
Theories about Antarctica first began circulating way back in 1954 when a United States admiral got on live TV and said this.
But strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America.
3 years later, in 1957, this same admiral passed away. A year after his passing, in 1958, NASA was established. Then the following year after NASA was formed, in 1959, the Arctic Treaty was signed. This led to some speculation that this was all connected somehow. That Admiral Byrd had spoke a little too much about this unseen continent and got people a little too curious. So they formed NASA to get people to focus on space exploration instead of continental and Antarctic exploration, then proceeded to implement the Antarctic Treaty, making it tough for any independent explorers to actually go there without a permit or express permission from their countries.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
The kinds of technologies that we're testing out on Space Station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
Early in the next decade, a set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit.
And this is really the beginning, I think, of human beings leaving low Earth orbit.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up and whether it still exists or not.
Right.
They don't want you to know this. When Jesus was on earth, people believed that demons lived in the ocean. This is why when Jesus walked on the sea, the disciples thought he was a ghost. Mark 6:49. And why when Jesus casts the legion into the pigs, they run into the sea? Because demons were thought to come from the waters or the abyss. And underneath the ocean was thought to be the underworld. They won't let me talk about this here, but go to the link in my profile and get the book.
Hey guys, I've been sick with COVID and TikTok has suspended my live access, but if you go to the link in my bio, you can follow my brand new YouTube channel I just made, and make sure you follow me.
We just fall off the edge.
For the same reason, the space asteroid question. Yeah. So for the same reason why you don't fall off the edge here. Antarctica is the only continent that doesn't look like anything else. All the other continents in here look perfectly fine. Antarctica, though, and it's not necessarily an ice wall, it's just Antarctica, this really, really, really high continent.
So you're saying Antarctica is all the way around?
Yep.
So where's the North Pole?
North Pole's in the center. North Pole's in the center. South Pole doesn't exist. Compasses don't work down in Antarctica. Most people don't talk about that. The Antarctic Treaty says that no corporation in the history of the world can set up shop down there forever.
What's outside?
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Well,
I mean, because it could be
no clue.
Well, I mean, if you can't get outside, you're not going to know for sure. But I mean, I don't think, my personal opinion is this isn't a one-off. There's not just one of these. There's more.
So we've got a picture of what you think what it's.
Oh yeah. That was made by one of our people, and it's a great option.
Have they been there? Have they seen that?
No, of course not.
Okay.
So
there's a hole in the wall there. There's a hole.
No.
There's a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
So can you go through?
We look at their rockets. This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up, it reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
Sorry to tell you. The only thing that's been to space is your imagination.
They tell us that the Earth is a sphere. They show us pictures of a sphere, of a circle. It's a perfect circle. And then they come out and they say, well, it's actually an oblate sphere.
Universal Pictures, owned by NBC Universal and Comcast, had a logo from the 1920s that shows a globe, which is about 40 years before we went to the moon, so to speak, and got the first quote picture from Apollo 11. But their logo has always been a sphere of some sort. However, the first version wasn't exactly meant to be Earth. You see, it's Saturn. The modern version still has the logo in the same placement as Saturn's rings, therefore this isn't exactly Earth, this is Saturn.
What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Yeah, that's their favorite line. Got a lot of people, what difference does it make? You can't figure out what difference it makes? If you can't figure out what difference it makes that the people running your world have lied to you over and over your whole life, if you can't figure out that someone lying to you is trying to control you, suppressing of information, of knowledge, is control. Deception of information and knowledge is a form of control. So what difference does it make? It makes a big difference, because once they start omitting information or lying about information about where you live, they're doing it to control you. Period. Why am I having to explain this to critical thinkers in the truth movement? The way you control.
You were told that the Earth was a flat disk. Would you believe it? Millions of people now believe in the flat Earth theory. Supporters of the flat Earth theory believe that the Earth is a sphere is a lie to deceive the whole world, and there is an organization, the Flat Earth Association, which conducts the International Conference on Flat Earth Theory every year. The group includes wealthy businessmen who make their own rocket testimonies, former NASA staffers, NBA star Irving and rapper B.O.B., supporters of the idea that the Earth is a flat disk. The center of the disk is the North Pole. The outermost circle of the disk is the South Pole. The Sun and Moon are parallel over the disk. The distance between the Sun and the Moon to the Earth is between 4,800 kilometers and 8,000 kilometers. The Sun and the Moon are rotating over the disk of the Earth at the same time. Where it can shine is day, and where it cannot shine is night.
There's a theory that we haven't ever been to outer space because of a transparent barrier that surrounds our entire world, and that past this barrier isn't open space or a vacuum, but water. Now, it all might sound crazy, but back in 1962, the US government launched a couple of nukes into the sky to allegedly test out the atmosphere's reaction to them, or that's what they want us to believe. But some say they were actually trying to see if they could crack that invisible barrier. Ironically enough, this program was called Operation Fishbowl. This theory is further speculated, as many have said that if you look at the stars with your own eyes, or zoom in on them with a camera, it seems to be twinkling or shining through a liquid-like substance. As rocket enthusiasts have observed, that rockets we have launched do seem to hit an invisible ceiling that causes a ripple-like effect that you would see in water, leading to a pretty strange theory.
They pulled the veil over our eyes, and it's time to awaken. Through organized indoctrination, our minds have been taken. It's time we take our power back and we rescue our people. The Vatican and the bankers are like Resident Evil. They may have had the greatest plan that was ever concocted, but Illuminati never thought that they'd ever be spotted. They're manufacturing reality all in our heads. They tell us if the earth is flat then we'll fall off the edge, but if it is a spinning ball we won't fall off it then. And gravity is our imaginary magic friend. Why is water always flat when unmanipulated? Why are pictures of the earth computer generated? Why you lying to us, man? That's something that we want to know. After that you're gonna have to pack up all your stuff and
The globe took the flat earth map and wrapped it into a ball.
First of all, with all these medieval ideas out there, clear the way for new ideas. Knowledge of man's fabulous discoveries in the centuries ahead. Now there'll be a great advantage, boy.
Advantage indeed. If the boy goes about saying the world is round, they'll take him for a lunatic.
The world is round? Yes, that's right. And it also goes around. You mean it'll be round someday? No, it's round now. Man will discover this in centuries to come. And he will also find that the world is merely a tiny speck in the universe. Universe?
You're only confusing the boy. Before you're through, he'll be so mixed up, he'll be wearing his shoes on his head. Man has always learned from the past. After all, you can't learn history in reverse. It's confusing.
Why did NASA stop exploring the ocean? It's alleged till date that we've only explored less than 5% of our oceans, and there are many things yet to be discovered. Tales of the Kraken, the Megalodon, and many mythical creatures living in the ocean might not just be a myth anymore. In 1958, NASA started exploring the deep ocean, charting and mapping out the ocean floor. However, on June 28, 1978, this program was abruptly halted, and NASA immediately got to work trying to get us off the planet. So, what is really living deep in the ocean? What did NASA discover?
The psalmist said, when I consider thy heavens. By the way, heavens is plural. We get into that more on video 2. He said, when I consider. Kids, you do yourself a favor once in a while to shut off that TV and go outside and consider the heavens. Go see what God has done. The psalmist said, while I was musing, the fire burned. The word muse means think. Think. The Bible uses the word twice. Think. Now, English is a pretty interesting language, you know. A theist is a person who says he believes in God. If you put the letter A in front of a word, it means the opposite. So an atheist is a person who says he does not believe in God. Muse means to think. You got it. Amuse means literally to not think. Did you know we've got entire parks where you can pay money and go do that? They're called amusement parks. A place to not think. He said, when I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon, the stars, which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? You know, it's interesting. A person that spends his time considering what God has done is just not impressed with what man can do.
In the beginning, God created the heavens, and the earth.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And God called the firmament heaven. And God called the firmament heaven.
The one who builds his upper chambers in the heavens and has founded his vaulted dome over the earth, vaulted dome over the earth, vaulted dome over the earth. Praise him, highest heavens, and the waters that are above the heavens. Let them praise the name of the Lord, for he commanded and they were created.
And you don't have to hide away. You'll be in my boy. But for now it's time to run, it's time to run.
What about the seasons?
The sun is close and small, and it circles around and above the flat Earth in a spiral pattern on the Tropic of Cancer in the northern summer months, and then down in the Tropic of Capricorn in the northern winter months. So when the sun is further away from the North Pole, right, the center of the flat Earth, it's winter in the north and summer in the south. Since the sun is smaller than we are told and closer, it makes much more sense that we experience seasons in the first place. If the sun was 93 million miles away and had a radius of over 400,000 miles, we would hardly experience temperature fluctuation as we do.
Some say you will love me one day, and I will wait to get your loving one day.
This is why you have to ask questions. The Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator and travels around the sun at 70,000 miles per hour. And the sun travels through the galaxy at 450,000 miles per hour. That's 8 trillion miles the sun has traveled since the year 0. Over a light year. And yet for thousands of years, even before that, people were looking into the sky and seeing the same stars that we see today. And if they had the same optics that we have today, they'd be able to photograph perfect star trails.
Eric Dubay that comes out with a video book called 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball. I need to straighten Eric out real quick.
This is crazy. How could he possibly think this? I'm going to go through and bust this thing apart.
His 200 Proofs is all about math and observable fact. Math is my gift. And
Calculator's my gift. What is your level of understanding of math?
Geometry, the etymology of the word actually means earth measurement. That's another common theme in the whole truth about biblical cosmology and known as flat earthers collectively. But I prefer the term motionless earth. Flat is a little bit of a misnomer. Like there's peaks and valleys and hills.
There's layers. It's exactly what I was thinking.
You got like airplane, plane, right? Like sea level. The word horizon is the root of the word horizontal, which means a perfectly flat line. And like plain sailing is an ancient form of sailing that is still used by sailors today. It just goes on and on.
You see, you're saying, how can you see the sun and the moon at the same time? You see, well, the moon and the sun do not travel at the same speed, right? After so long, the moon will overlap the sun. Let's go. See that? Now they're at the equilibrium. Now watch them close back together. Let's go a little faster. See, now you can see the moon starting to catch back up. There's your solar lunar eclipse right there.
To all of you who believe the Earth is spherical, you know damn well it's flat. You believe the Earth is spherical because you have been shown images like these. And images like these. And images like these. Which are admittedly composites or computer-generated images and not photographs.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Yeah. Oh, Aku
answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Truman, what do they want? Listen to me. Everybody knows everything you do. They're pretending, Truman. Do you understand? Everybody's pretending.
Your entire history is an illusion, a fabrication, as it is with all of us. Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom.
I took the face of a clock, painted a simulation of a moon on there, decided I'd take that and dip it in blue water and black water. This is what I think's happening, or something very, very similar. I'm not saying this is the way it is, but this is the way I think it is. The curve on this glass is way too concaved, but if it was less, it would work a lot better for showing the phases of the moon.
This is As Above, So Below. You ever wonder why a rainbow is shaped like a dome? Here's the answer. The firmament was God's creation of a world to divide the primal sea into upper and lower portions, so that the dry land could appear, plain and simple. In whom do you trust, NASA, the Bible, or reality? There's a big difference between conspiracy theory and conspiracy fact, I must admit. Like when it comes to water in the glass, a pool, lake, or sea, but when it comes to a classroom, globe-tard as can be. Like, come on now, how can they capture video over Earth at night but can't stream live? Why? Because people of the world can't handle the truth, let alone the facts. Critical things, sea level and sphere go hand in hand like holy matrimony. I am not a flat earther, and I am not a globe-tard. I am simply a critical thinker. So wake up!
When I discovered this, I guess I was a full-on atheist. I didn't believe in anything. I believed in evolution. You know, we evolved from pond scum, turned into monkeys, and then turned into humans. And I believe that there's billions of other planets out there and alien life. I believed all of that. And then when I discovered by looking at the science, because we actually, flat earthers actually use science, right? We don't just say, oh, science. Physics, those are just words. We actually use science and physics, and we look at things that are impossible and things that are not impossible. And I said, okay, the Earth is flat, which doesn't mean it's not the shape, it's intelligently designed, and therefore there is a creator. And I draw the line there as far as that's it. You have to figure out the you know, who the creator is and what your relationship is.
They're telling us that there's all of these different Earth-like planets out there, right? How many of you guys been following the news on that? What's even worse, though, is how far away these things are. Do you know how far a light year is? 1 light year is approximately 6 trillion miles. They're telling us we're looking across thousands of light years. 3,000, that's 3,000 times 6 trillion. Oh, it gets worse than that. They said that they saw a black freaking hole at 55 million light years away. 55 million times 6 trillion. You got a telescope that can see that far? Zoom in on the moon right now and read me the serial number on the bumper of the buggy. Right now, or shut up.
The Earth might be bigger than we thought. For years, people have debated over the shape of the Earth, if it is round or flat. Now, this might just all be a conspiracy, but what if the Earth had more than just 7 continents? And Antarctica was just a giant ice wall that kept us from seeing the rest of the continents? What if once you made it past the ice wall, you'll find the 20 continents that are really being hidden from us? And what if there was a map that showed this? There are theories that these continents contain prehistoric animals, aliens, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents that we are living in is actually a giant farm or business owned by a small handful of families that make up the filthy rich in the real world, or in the other continents that we don't know about. That is why.
By the way, do you actually believe we have the ability to remote control a dune buggy on Mars? I don't even have cell phone reception in here. I don't. Oh, but we're controlling a dune buggy on Mars. Really?
I get it busy,
One of the most amazing things that I have ever seen in the bottom of the ocean. It was while filming for Blue Planet. It was in the Gulf of Mexico. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. And we went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
But check this shit out. Days after he released that video, which will never be made again, of course, his helicopter explodes, killing him and his best friend.
One of the most amazing things that
We live under a dome.